Hello guys, KP Shamino here with a new video for Path of Exile. And I'm going to make a new series, guys, for Path of Exile. And I'm going to talk in every video about one mechanic, defensive mechanic, that is really good. That a lot of people use, that I always use in my builds too. Why only one mechanic for each video? To make it simple. Because at the moment there are so many videos, but nobody's really talking about one thing. So if you want to have specific one video or one guide about one mechanic defensive system, that's almost impossible. So today I'm going to show you guys the Molten Shell. Why is defensive now important? Because we got the Arch Nemesis mods, and otherwise you cannot survive anymore. And let's have a look to the Molten Shell. Why is Molten Shell so good? And how do you need to use it? Because I'm going to talk not only about the skill, I'm going to show you guys it, I'm going to show you guys it on the tree, and I'm going to show you guys how you need to execute it. So first of all, let's get to the basics. You got Molten Shell and you got Vaal Molten Shell. Be sure that you got a gem that got the Vaal Molten Shell too. So if you read already what is here in the info, you know why it's so good. So the base duration is 3 seconds. That's okay. 70% increased skill effect duration, that's okay too. Then this skill cooldown does not recover during its effect. So if you got Molten Shell, the cooldown is not going down. You always start back at the same duration of your cooldown. So it will always be 4 seconds. So it's gone 4 seconds, you use it again, it's gone 4 seconds, and so on and so on. You can put the cooldown a little bit down, so shorter. That's on the passive tree. I will show you guys that right way. And then 75% of damage from hits is taken from the buff before your life and energy shield. So that means you will get a buff, and 75% on the duration that Molten Shell is on, of all the hits that you get, is going first from the buff instead of your life. And therefore it's so good. And then what is the buff? Buff can take damage equal to 20% of your armor up to maximum 10,000. So 20% of the total armor and maximum 10,000. So that means if you got 50,000 armor, and I'm almost at 50,000 armor, you got the maximum amount of buff. That's 10,000. So that's a lot. So that's a lot of damage that you mitigate, and therefore it's so good. That reflects 3000 of damage taken from a buff as fire damage when buff expires or depleted. So that means buff grants plus 850 to armor too. So that means it explodes when it's gone. So you guys can see right away why it's so good. So it's almost like extra life that you get, not 10,000, but because it's only 75% of the damage that it's going to take, but it's a lot. It's like extra life, and therefore so many people are using it. Then the Vaal Molten Shell is almost the same, but here it's 39% of all the damage is taken from the buff before life. It takes 30% of your armor, maximum 30,000, so that means that you need to have around almost 90,000 armor to get the maximum Vaal Molten Shell up, and then it reflects 9,000, and it's a longer time than it's up to. It's almost, I think, let me have a look where it is, I think 10 to 13 seconds. So therefore it's so good, guys, and therefore everybody is using it. So what does that mean? You got your Molten Shell, you put it here. So now I got Molten Shell equipped, and what a lot of people do is you put your Molten Shell just on your run button. So what does that mean? So every time it's going to be up, every 4 seconds you do this, and you guys can see here my buff is 8,000 almost. If I use my granite flask, that is going to buff my armor a little bit more, and I do it again, you guys can see I'm almost on 10,000. So 75% of all the hits that I get now is mitigated by this buff. Very good, you think, but you can buff it a little bit more. So now you can see that my cooldown is 4 seconds and my buff is up 3.5 seconds. If you link increased duration on it, and we do it again, you will see now it's almost up for 6 seconds. So that's a very good symbiosis. Increased duration and yeah, with Molten Shell, to just let it be up a little bit longer. Very good. You can just turn around. You still got 4 seconds after it's gone that you got the next one, but it's 6 seconds up. So 6 seconds with almost 10,000 life more. That's very good. If you don't want to look at it and just do it automatically, you can throw a cast when damage on it. And every time you got a certain amount of damage in, the Molten Shell will proc, and you don't need to watch it anymore. Then the Vaal Molten Shell, of course, you need to have souls for it. So I put it here at 5, and if I'm getting a lot of damage in, I just pop it up. So therefore, it's very good. So just, you come on a boss, you pop it up, and you will take reduced damage in. Then another thing that is very important, one of the things that work really well with Molten Shell, and therefore it's in 84% of the builds on Po Ninja at the moment, that's Determination. Determination is going to buff your armor. So you can see it here. You and nearby allies gain 2000 additional armor. You and nearby allies gain 49% more armor. It's going to buff your armor with a lot, because you need to have a lot of armor to get 10,000 life on the Molten Shell. So that works really well. It always goes together. Another thing on the talent tree, so you will see there is one cluster that is very important. If you want to get your Molten Shell shorter, that the cooldown is shorter, you can take those nodes. So here, all the way to the south, you will see here, the guard skill, Molten Shell is a guard skill, have 20% increased cooldown recovery rate. Here is 20% increased cooldown recovery rate again. And here is the guard skill have 20% increased duration. That's a nice amount too. And of course you buff your armor here too with almost, what is it, 50% more. So increased armor on the tree works really well. But of course don't go too high, because for the normal one you need to have like 50% and then you're done. 50,000 I need to say, and then it's done. Then you are on the 10,000, because I'm now at the moment, you guys can see it, at 34 with my granite 42, and I'm almost at 10,000, and that's the maximum buff. So that's how it works, guys. One of the best, everybody use it. So I will show you guys what it can do. So here, this is a tier 40 map. Do you guys see? They are just hitting at the moment on my Molten Shell. It's now gone. I'm not doing anything. So it's a level 81 map, and therefore it works so good. Here we go again. There, they hit it entirely, and it's up again. And you don't need to think about it. If you put it on your running button, you just need to click it and you got it the whole time up. Here we go again. So, yeah, here you can see it. So I'm not taking damage here on my life, and therefore it's so good. If we go now with the Vaal Molten Shell, that's going to be up a longer time. It's almost 17 seconds up. Yeah, and the problem now is that I just removed it by my my Molten Shell themselves. So you need to watch it a little bit if you put it on running. I just saw it. So my Vaal Molten Shell is gone because I used my Molten Shell. So you need to adapt a little bit on it with if you use that. But at the end, you guys can see why so many people are using it. So that was the first very good defensive mechanic video. Thanks for watching, guys. Have fun. Bye bye.